I suppose we haven't got an axe among our luggage, Mr. Frodo? Asked Sam. I brought a little hatchet for chopping firewood, said Frodo. That wouldn't be much use. Wait a minute, cried Sam, struck by an idea suggested by firewood. We might do something with fire. We might, said Frodo doubtfully. We might succeed in roasting Pippin alive inside. We might try to hurt or frighten this tree to begin with, said Sam fiercely. If it don't let them go, I'll have it down, if I have to gnaw it. He ran to the ponies and before long came back with 2 tinder boxes and a hatchet. Quickly they gathered dry grass and leaves and bits of bark and made a pile of broken twigs and chopped sticks. These they had heaped against the trunk on the far side of the tree for the prisoners. As soon as Sam had struck a spark into the tinder, it kindled the dry grass, and a flurry of flame and smoke went up. The twigs cackled. Little fingers of fire licked against the dry, scored rind of the ancient tree and scorched it. A tremor ran through the whole willow. The leaves seemed to hiss above their heads with a sound of pain and anger. A loud scream came from Merry, and from far inside the tree they heard Pippin give a muffled yell.
Put it out! Put it out!
Cried Merry.
He'll squeeze me through if you don't! He said no!
Who? What? Shouted Frodo, rushing round to the corner of the side of the tree.
Put it out! Put it out!
Begged Merry. The branches of the willow began to sway violently. There was a sound as of a wind rising and spreading outwards to the branches of all the other trees round about, as though they had dropped a stone into a quiet slumber of the river valley and set up ripples of anger that ran out over the whole forest. Sam kicked at the little fire and stamped out the sparks, but Frodo, without any clear idea of why he did so or what he hoped for, ran along the path crying, "Help! Help! Help!" It seemed to him that he could hardly hear the sound of his own shrill voice. It was blown away from him by the willow wind and drowned in the clamour of leaves as soon as the words left his mouth. He felt desperate, lost, and witless. Suddenly he stopped. There was an answer, or so he thought, but it seemed to come from behind him, away down the path further back into the forest. He turned round and listened, and soon there could be no doubt. Someone was singing a song. A deep, glad voice was singing carelessly and happily, but it was singing nonsense.
Bring it on, hop along, all on the willow. Come, jolly come up the willow.
Half hopeful and half afraid of some new danger, Frodo and Sam now both stood still. Suddenly, out of a long string of nonsense words, or so they seemed, the voice rose up loud and clear and burst into the song.
Hey, come, merry doll, my darling. Life goes the weather wind, and the feathers parting. Down along the hill, shining in the sunlight, waiting on the doorstep of the cold and soft night. There my pretty lady is, river woman's daughter. Slender as the willow one, clearer as the water. Oh, Tom Bombadil, water lily springing. Come along, hopping home again. Can you hear him ringing? Hey, come, Derry-doll, a merry-o. Goldberry, melly yellow berry-o. Poor old willow man, you tuck your roots away. Tom's in a hurry now, evening will follow day. Tom's going home again, water lilies bringing. Hey, come, Derry-doll, can't you hear me singing?
Frodo and Sam stood as if enchanted. The wind puffed out. The leaves hung silently again on stiff branches. There was another burst of song, and then suddenly, hopping and dancing along the path, there appeared above the reeds an old battered hat, with a tall crown, and a long blue feather stuck into the band. With another hop and a bound there came into view a man, or so it seemed. At any rate, he was too large and heavy for a hobbit, if not quite tall enough for one of the big people, though he made noise enough for one, stumping along with great yellow boots on his thick legs, and charging through grass and rushes like a cow going down to drink. He had a blue coat, and a long brown beard. His eyes were blue and bright, his face was red as a ripe apple, but creased into 100 wrinkles of laughter. In his hands he carried a large leaf as on a stray small pile of white water lilies. cried Frodo and Sam, running towards him with their hands stretched out.
Whoa, whoa! Steady there!
Cried the old man, holding up one hand, and they stopped short, as if they had been struck stiff.
Now, my little fellows, where be you a-going to, puffin' like the bellows? What's the matter here, then? Do you know who I am? I'm Tom Bombadil. Tell me what's your trouble. Tom's in a hurry now. Don't you crush my lilies.
My friends are caught in the willow tree, cried Frodo breathlessly. Master Merry's been squeezed in a crack.
What?
Shouted Tom Bombadil, leaping up the air.
Old Val Willow? Not worse than that, eh? Oh, that can soon be mended. I know the tune for him, old grey willow man. How freezes Merrow cold if he don't behave himself? I'll sing his roots off. I'll sing a wind up and blow leaf and branch away, old Ran Willow.
Setting down his lilies carefully on the grass, he ran to the tree. There he saw Merry's feet still sticking out. The rest had already been drawn further inside. Tom put his mouth to the crack and began singing into it in a low voice. They could not catch the words, but evidently Merry was aroused. His legs began to kick. Tom sprang away, and breaking off a hanging branch, he smote the side of the willow with it.
You let them out again, old man Willow, he said. And what were you a-thinking of? You should not be waking. Eat earth, dig deep, drink water. Go to sleep. Bombadil is talking.
He then seized Merry's feet and drew him out of the suddenly widening crack. There was a tearing creak, and the other crack split open, and out of it Pippin sprang as if he had been kicked. Then with a loud snap both cracks closed fast again. A shudder ran through the tree, from root to tip, and complete silence fell. Thank you, said the hobbits one after another. Tom Bombadil burst out laughing.
Well, my little fellows,
said he, stooping so that he peered into their faces.
You shall come home with me. The table is all laden with yellow cream, honeycomb, and white bread and butter. Goldberries awaiting. Time enough for questions around the supper table. You follow after me as quick as you are able.
With that he picked up his lilies, and then with a beckoning wave of his hand, went hopping and dancing along the path eastward, still singing loudly and nonsensically.